When I started self-studying languages, I thought, okay, I'm just gonna look up a whole bunch of words, maybe get the 1,000 most common word list and just memorize these and that'll help. Hello everybody, my name is Lindie, and over the past few years I have dedicated a significant portion of my time to learning a lot of languages. Now that doesn't mean that I am fluent in all of them. There are some languages that I'm comfortable enough with to live in that country and not need English, but there are other languages like Hungarian where there is just a very long road ahead of me. So yesterday in my Hungarian lesson, my tutor asked me, most milyen hónap van? What month are we in? And I said, hát csütörtök, which is Thursday. So there's a long way to go. But the point I'm trying to get at is that the more languages I learn, the more my mindset changes about the process of learning languages. But today I'd like to share with you some misconceptions that I've had about the language learning process. The first thing I've really changed my mind about is the process of acquiring vocabulary. Now, when we take language lessons at school, we are often given entire vocabulary lists and we're told to memorize these for a test coming up in 2 or 3 days. Generally, this is not a very good language learning method because you're only memorizing single words. You're being tested on how many words you can remember rather than how can you actually use this word in the context of a daily life situation. It might have been different where you went to school. I went to school in South Africa, Pakistan, and Dubai, and we had quite different methods. But one thing I do remember from language lessons is just being given worksheets and word lists, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so annoying to memorize these words and not actually learning how to speak. The only thing that I think these lessons really got right is theming and categorizing the vocabulary. So you would get a list about words related to travel or cooking. The only good thing about that is that your mind can make associations with these words in a theme and a category. It's not just random words coming from who knows where. When I started self-studying languages, I thought, okay, I'm just gonna look up a whole bunch of words, maybe get the 1,000 most common word list and just memorize these and that'll help. And I realized, well, I'm not really remembering the words because I'm not actually using them. I realized if I'm not actually putting these words in my own sentences, exposing myself to the words by reading or listening a lot more, I'm never really gonna learn if I'm just using flashcards. Now, there's a video I made about 2+ years ago about how I learned vocabulary, and my thoughts have changed a lot. I think I was pretty pro flashcards then, and I still am to some extent. Yes, if you are memorizing words for a test, for example, the TOPIK Korean exam, you need to have a really broad vocabulary. Yeah, I'm all for flashcards, but the problem comes in when people get really stressed about, oh, my flashcard app, Anki, is telling me that I've only memorized X amount of words and I need to learn 200 more and there's 500 words in review, and that becomes really stressful. Maybe you are someone who is driven by stats and numbers and you're super diligent and consistent, and those kinds of flashcard apps work for you. But for me, I really want to see how can I use this word in context. Example is talking about stuff that you really love talking about. So I like to talk to Hungarian people online on forums and language exchange apps, and it's especially exciting when someone is a fellow designer because I can use vocabulary that I'm really interested in. The point is just exposing yourself to this language a lot, because once you see a word and you see it repeatedly, you're gonna see the word in different contexts and make connections. So you might think, oh, when did I hear that word? Oh, right, it was on a podcast. And the more it happens, the more you get familiarized with words, the better you're gonna memorize it. If you're only looking at a piece of paper or an app flashcard constantly, you're not making these mental pictures in your mind of where this word can be used. I have so much I want to share with you guys about how I learned vocabulary, so just bear with me for this section of the video. I'm going to go into detail about how I'm actually learning vocabulary in context and methods that are helpful for me to learn grammar as well. These are notes that I have copy-pasted from my language exchange partners. Now, one of my language exchange partners is so kind that they actually help translate what I've written in English to Hungarian. So for instance, here is the English part which I've written, and just under is the Hungarian translation. You can do this with any content, whether it is stuff you have from an article, whether it's a conversation with a language exchange partner, wherever you can find native content, a transcript, a blog, whatever, you just write it down. And what I do is I put it in my notebook, Important is not to translate every word. If you are already upper beginner or intermediate, there will be a lot of words that you know. You just need to focus on the new vocabulary that you don't know. This sentence is, it was a long day at the office, but it is finally the weekend. Now, vigra is the new word for me, which is finally. So I'll write the whole sentence because I want to learn the word in context of the full sentence. I will only highlight the word I don't know. And then at the bottom of the page, I will write the vocabulary list of the new words that I have learned. So I do this with all my sentences. I like to write content that I'm actually interested in and would use again. So if I'm talking about my job, these are words that I would need to use. For instance, where is it? Chapat is a team. And chapatot is the team as an object in a sentence. So I write down all the words that are important for me to know, underline them rather, and then have a little vocabulary list at the bottom. Sometimes people ask me, do you learn vocabulary and grammar separately? How do you actually learn that? How I combine grammar and vocabulary learning is, I was reading here and I saw the word shegi tetak. Now I know shegi is to help. But I didn't know what this hetek ending is. I know the K ending might mean it's me, it is I who is doing the helping. So this is actually the potential form of the verb. I just put the quick Chinese character here, ke, to indicate can or potential form. Just don't worry about that right now. I will look up, okay, first of all, I look up this word on Google Translate because I don't know what it means in its entirety. And it means to be able to help. Then I'm like, okay, that's the potential form. Then I Google potential form Hungarian. So I use an online Hungarian grammar forum website, but you can find this for any language. There are grammar, I think there's JGram for Japanese grammar, but in any case, I just Google the form. So potential form, and then I get a whole lot of explanations and other examples of the potential form, and that is how I actually learn the grammar. So I can connect it back to something I've learned. It's not like I'm learning grammar and vocabulary in isolation. So these are just a lot of example sentences I got online of how to actually use this specific type of grammar structure. So I might make a few grammar notes and conjugate a few words. I can kind of create my own lesson for myself just from having a conversation with someone where I mentioned something and there was this one word that I can then start learning a lot more grammar and vocabulary from. So I sort of just build upon simple sentences. So to summarize, I've changed my mind about vocabulary learning from memorizing just lists of words to learning words in context and using them as fast as possible and exposing myself to vocabulary as much as I can. So as you can see, I didn't have the most positive experience at school learning languages. Sorry for the sudden angle change. My back really hurts and I was sitting weird, but okay, we're back. So when I started self-studying languages, I thought it literally means self-study. Yes, you can have a language exchange partner, a friend to talk to, but the studying you gotta do on your own. And it was like there was a lot of freedom in that. I could make my own lessons, but as I got older and a bit more busier at work, I thought, I don't actually have time to be looking for this content and creating lessons for myself. And I became a lot more positive towards the idea of having a tutor. Now, I used to think, like tutors are stifling, it's just gonna be boring, but it's been extremely wonderful. I like to do a mix in languages that I'm still a beginner in, so Tagalog and Hungarian and Spanish. I like to take lessons, and languages that I've been learning for a very long time, like French, Korean, and Japanese, I prefer to continue my self-study journey. I realized that taking lessons one-on-one with a tutor is really great to build this bond with them, where you can even have your own inside jokes, or you can take the liberty like I did to tell my Hungarian tutor, listen, I really don't want to talk about numbers, so can we just skip that until I'm comfortable with the rest of the language? Like, you can really build a nice friendship with your tutor. Then group lessons are super fun as well, because you get to meet people from all over. You can see what mistakes are other people doing, so you feel like, hey, we're in this together. Or you can be inspired and motivated by the progress that other people are doing. And you also get a lot of listening practice with group lessons. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I have learned Spanish not from self-study, but I actually took lessons on Lingoda. And they're running something really exciting called the Lingoda Language Sprint. Basically what that is 3 months of intensive language study. And you can watch my other videos to see my progress of how much I learned to speak Spanish just within those 3 months. The best thing about Lingoda is if you actually take all of the lessons in the sprint, you can get 100% off your money back. I took the Lingoda sprint about a year and a half ago, I think, and right now I'm just taking group lessons, but not sprint lessons with them. On Lingoda, you can learn Spanish, German, English, Business English, and French. I know some of my viewers do learn English, so something really cool is you get free access to the English Online Cambridge Speaking Test. More than 40,000 people have participated in the Lingoda sprints, and I like to scroll through Lingoda's Instagram and see like the success stories from everyone, because it's really motivating, like, oh, I'm not alone in this journey. The classes on Lingoda are quite small, so it's about 5 people per class, and you get a PDF with the lesson, and I save all these PDFs because I like to take notes and go back, and all of the teachers are native speakers, and they're really fun and funny. The classes are available 24/7, so you can book any day of the week or any time that you need. Okay, here is the nitty-gritty sprint details. The sprint starts on April 28, 2021, and you can sign up until April 16. There are 2 types of sprints, the super sprint and the regular sprint. For the super sprint, you have to attend 30 classes a month for 3 months, and you'll get 100% cash back. And the normal sprint is 15 classes a month, and you get 50% off your cash back if you complete all of them. Both plans require a €49 deposit, but there is a €10/12 USD discount voucher if you use the code CHANGE55. So be sure to use the sign up link in the description box and type in this code if you'd like a discount on your registration fee. Just be sure to read all the rules and T's and C's carefully. They will refund all of your money upon successful completion of the course. If you don't worry, you can still continue. It's alright if you miss some lessons, you just won't get your money back, but it is so worth it. I wasn't able to complete the sprint because, like, honestly, it's tough. I missed a few lessons because I wanted to sleep, but I still go back and review my notes from Lingoda lessons from like a year back, and I'm so grateful for that experience, so I can highly recommend it. So sign up now with my code CHANGE55, the link is in the description, and see how Lingoda can really help transform your language learning process. The next thing I've grown into and changed my mind about is speaking a language. I used to be so scared to speak a language. I thought I had to be fluent before I could start speaking, and that is wrong. How am I going to learn how to speak and be comfortable if I'm not practicing speaking? It is impossible to train your speaking skills if you're not putting yourself out there and practicing. Something interesting I've noticed over the years is that when I am a beginner in a language, I tend to have a lot more confidence, and I feel, yes, you know, even if I'm making mistakes, I'm so excited, I just want to use this new language. And as I become more upper beginner intermediate, I'm like, ooh, okay, actually I don't really know how to speak, and I'm scared people are gonna laugh at me and make mistakes when I make mistakes. But I learned to take a hold of that excitement and motivation I have at the beginning stages of learning a language to create these environments and habits for me where I can practice a language. So I attend a lot of language exchanges online right now. There's forums you can join. If your country is safe right now, there might be a language meetup near you in person. So there's lots of opportunities for you to practice a language. And if you're feeling like really shy and nervous, there are a lot of videos on my channel about the topic of getting confidence and motivation to speak a language. So now I really value putting myself in difficult situations where I need to use a language because I find that I will remember and learn new words faster. So if I'm stuck trying to express a concept, someone might tell me the word I'm looking for, and then I will make that association. Okay, I'm not going to forget this word because this person taught it to me. It's a lot more interactive, and it's a great way to practice languages. Next thing that I've changed my mind on is the concept of fluency. I used to think that you have to be at a really high and advanced level in a language. You need to complete the C2 certificate. You need to get the JLPT N1 or the TOPIK 2 level 6. Like, you need these certifications to prove that you are fluent. But I think fluency is more fluidity. I like that the Spanish word for fluency is con fluidez, which is like with fluidness, right? Fluidity. It's not about certifications. It's about how comfortable are you using it. How comfortable are you to use it? How comfortable are you using it? That's correct. So I am just doubting my English today. It's a very tricky topic. I don't know if I can say I am fluent in Korean, but I can definitely say that I am fluid in Korean. If you were to just plop me in Korea right now, I would be happy and comfortable. I would be able to talk to people, find my way around. order food, whatever. But I might not know all the words there is. I might not be able to read a academic journal or a difficult newspaper. Does that mean I'm fluent? I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm fluid. But why is this concept of fluency so important to us? Yes, we have goals that we want to measure ourselves to so we can track our progress and see that we're improving. But sometimes I wonder, are we spending too much time defining what it means to be fluent and who's not, and spotting the fake polyglots? I really think that's a waste of time. We could be using that mental energy to actually be using and enjoying our languages. So I really think that fluency is not how well are you able to speak a language by, some academic certificate, but it's more what were you able to say a few months ago and what can you say now? Like how much can you express and how comfortable do you feel? Yeah, I'm definitely a lot more lenient on the concept of fluency, and I put a lot of emphasis on how can you enjoy an experience in a language, right? When you're talking to someone, are you connecting? Are you laughing? Are you learning something new from them? Are you just enjoying it? Or are you sitting and stressing like, okay, I need this exact correct word. I've forgotten this grammar structure. If it's stressful for you, it's like, what's the point of language learning, right? You need to define that for yourself. What do you think the goal of learning a language is? Is it to communicate and have fun? Or is it more academic, like you want to read academic journals and you need this accurate grammar? Define that for yourself. Create your own concept of what fluency is to you and see how you can reach that personal goal. And the last thing I want to mention is resources. I used to think that I'm not going to be able to learn a language if I don't have a textbook for it. And I think that's kind of like a really old school mindset that you go into a bookstore and you look in the language section and there's only these popular languages and you think, oh, I'm never going to learn Vietnamese because I can't find a textbook for it. But there are so many free resources available online. You don't even need to pay a cent for a textbook. There are crazy forums on Tumblr and Reddit and Facebook communities where people are sharing resources they've made. I say this in all my videos and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but really you'll be surprised at what you can find on the internet. And you really don't even need a textbook these days to learn a language. I like to collect lists of language learning resources and put them on my website, so be sure to go to lindybuddhist.com/language-resources. The link is in the description if you want to see my collection of free and paid resources for different languages. If there's a language you do want me to add to, I know a lot of you have been asking for French. I will do my best to create the French language resource page. That's not up yet, but please be patient with me. And also on Twitter, I love to post a lot of resources. So I hope this video has been helpful and encouraging to you. I'm really excited to share my growth on how my mindsets about languages change over time. In a few upcoming videos, I will be going more into my actual process. How do I really learn vocabulary and grammar? And of course, how do I make time for languages when I have a full-time job and a YouTube channel? So stay tuned, please subscribe so you can see those videos. And I would love to hear what you've changed your mind on in your language journey as you've grown, so please do leave a comment. And thank you so much. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!